At the town of Vic Park, we are always looking for new ways to connect with our community. So when the opportunity came to create a film to support the 2017 NAIDOC theme, Our Languages Matter, we thought it would be a great opportunity to work with future leaders in the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community to better understand the role of language in connection to culture.
Language is very important in Indigenous culture because it's the way that we express ourselves.
Whether that be verbal or non-verbal, how we express ourselves is a part of our identity. If someone took away that expression of who I am, I wouldn't know how to communicate, not just within my own family, but within Australia and the world as a whole. Through that stolen generation, we lost that connection, and trying to fight and gain that back has been a long, hard battle for most families.
The legislation in this state, starting in the early 1900s, was about taking language and culture away. Since that legislation has been written out of the statutes, there has been a movement about relearning language and culture. And if it hadn't been for that sort of movement in the early 1970s, places like this, would never have existed in universities.
The Centre for Aboriginal Studies is for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from all over Australia. Moving forward, it's the education of non-Aboriginal people, and with that becomes more awareness, respect and acknowledging Aboriginal culture and acknowledging the first Australians.
With the amount of different languages that the Indigenous culture has, it can be quite difficult sometimes to communicate with a mob from different country in Australia.
There is about 250 to 300 different languages, but on top of that, there is actually 400 or so dialects. So you've got Perth Whadjuk here, which speaks Noongar language, but then all of these countries around here will actually speak a variation of Noongar.
Language is an important cultural identifier, but not essential. You can still be a Whadjuk Noongar without speaking Whadjuk language, but it's important for people to have opportunities to learn language if they want to, and young people to learn more about culture.
Millen Primary School is in East Victoria Park, close to the city, and we're a very multicultural school. We're back onto Curtin University. So this year NAIDOC's theme being Our Languages Matter. We've looked at that across the curriculum.
So the first person we employed at the start of NAIDOC Week was a lady called Gina Williams, and she's really leading the way for languages in WA. She's actually got this amazing song called Wonju. Wonju means welcome to Noongar country. So it's really bringing life to the Noongar language, which is a really great way for teachers to latch onto that and really start embedding it back through the school system.
Asked for kaya and welcome to be large, and then for all of our secondary languages within the school to be represented within that sign as well. Yeah, we did.
The role of our Aboriginal Education Committee is to ensure that the strategic approach that we've put in place is actioned, and we've all got roles within that. So it may be around the NAIDOC committee, it may be around accessing relationships with the wider community like we've done with the town of Victoria Park, and we've had a lot of success from that. So we've got Aboriginal elders coming into our school as well as some funding to help us with our bush tucker garden.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nolene. I've come here today to talk to you about the kind of artwork that I do, and you can have a go at it yourself. Something else I wanted to just say a bit about was the language. I don't come from down here. I come from a place called Painsfine. The language group up there from my great-grandmother's people is Budimaya Wadjarit. We lost that language. We didn't speak it for many years, and only one person is left that actually speaks that language. He's 82 years old, and he put together a language dictionary with all the Aboriginal words from there. So we're learning again to speak that language.
Millen Primary School has always had a name of being a very inclusive school. We always have had a number of cultures, but of course there has always been quite a large population of Aboriginal children. There is a real desire to learn from them so that their culture does not die, nor their language.
Okay, so we're going to be teaching the Year 3s how to do head, shoulders, knees and toes in Noongar language. Do you guys know any Noongar language body parts?
My favourite body part is Mul, the mouth. I like Jenna, feet.
First, I think it's like really good because we're learning Noongar culture and it's really special. And two, it's very fun.
The reason I became a teacher was to really send that message to children that they can be successful. So finding all those real positives that come from the culture and really trying to reignite that as a hope for the future.
When I'm older, I just want to share it with my kids so they could pass it on to theirs and it like keeps on going.
One of the key features of the schools is that they are a perfect place for people to not only learn but to support one another. And we see future ambassadors from the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander groups being formed within that context. The Aboriginal Engagement Strategy group is really a bridge between community and council, and we're really keen to invite participation from elders, but we also have younger representatives as well. We are working in the town to reach out, to build those relationships and to help people achieve what they want to achieve.
I'm a Gimoiwala Bura Yindinji, which is all the way from Cairns, Queensland. And so there's no one here who speaks my language, so I'm trying to learn by reading from a book. Mwayu, that is the sea turtle, and that is my totem. So I was given that because I'm always on the move and so are sea turtles. As the Indigenous Support Officer, I'm involved with many programs, one of them being outreach, where I go to the schools and discuss the possibilities of higher education. Unfortunately, a common feeling is that if you can't speak your language, it doesn't make you Aboriginal, which is quite sad, really. But there are opportunities out there for you to go out and learn about your culture and learn your language if that's what you want to do.
We don't really know a lot about our language. You know, it's something that we should be trying to keep alive and something that we're losing, which is really sad.
I'm a Wangai kid, but I can't speak the language. I find it very difficult to understand some of my friends when I was in Kalgoorlie.
A lot of Indigenous languages are not spoken as fluently and as often as they were once upon a time. So I feel like it's very important that in schools there's some sort of Indigenous education as far as language goes for Indigenous students as well as non-Indigenous students to learn, so that we can continue to progress and keep these languages alive so that we don't lose as many as we have in the past.
So instead of learning languages like, you know, Japanese and Indonesian, even though that's really important, learning other cultures, it would be better, I think, to learn Australia's first languages instead of languages from overseas.
In the future, I'd like to pass my culture down to younger ones and teach them about our languages.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Me and my brother learned about Aboriginal words because my mum teaches us. I like my culture because it belongs to Australia and it could be a lost language if we don't keep using it.
The resurgence of language and connection to culture is something being embraced by younger generations and needs to be supported by elders, community and Australian education system. Through understanding, acknowledgement and respect, we can achieve a shared vision for a connected, empowered community.